Hello, Pit Bike Mike. We are gonna test ride this Triumph Rocket 3R. This thing is an insane bike. I can guarantee you right now I'm never gonna own this thing, but I'm very curious to see what it's like. Alright, we are in neutral. 69 inches tall, both feet firmly on the ground. Thing's a little dirty. Display is not bad, it's interesting. They gave me a rundown on this thing, told me to be careful because this thing is an insane monster, which I can imagine. I gotta say, the seat is comfortable on this thing though. Being a 2500cc 3-cylinder. I don't know why, but it almost sounds like a car motor. These big old bars on this thing, all wide stanced. I will admit this bike is it's intimidating. You know, being on, the guy said the largest production motorcycle motor size, something like that. Yeah. Thing's gonna be interesting. I like how it just says temperature okay for coolant. Interesting. It's like, oh no, don't worry about the temp. But like, it's just okay. Don't worry about it. So it looks like we got cruise control and all that other good stuff. Oh god. This thing has so much torque in it that just revving it like that, the bike, what do you want to, this bike just like twisted itself underneath of me, like, dear god. I'll admit, leaning this thing is definitely interesting because it wants to stay upright, so you definitely have to, you know, you definitely have to bring it over, but man, them pipes. The pipes on this thing. I could have gotten around it, but I'm not confident enough yet on this bike. Dear God, this thing's scary. You know, y'all might think I'm being over exaggerating, but this thing's insane. It's got so much power that it's ludicrous. I couldn't even imagine taking this thing up the red line. I don't think it would be safe. I don't think I got enough skill. I wouldn't even say enough skill. I just got a little bit too much self-preservation to want to take this thing up the red line. This thing's insane. Oh, riding characteristics. For an inline 3-cylinder, practically car motor, super smooth. Brakes are pretty good, which you definitely would hope you would have good brakes on something like this. I don't even know what the top speed of this thing is, but It's probably faster than I would want to go. Man, just the pop, 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 pop out of the exhaust is kind of intoxicating. Ooh, look at that, a McLaren. Big money. Big, big money. One in the neutral, pretty easy. Nice, nice. That's always good when it does what you want it to do. I don't know what this M does. Oh, that's mode. So, oh, this is sport mode? I was in road mode? Oh god. I don't know if I want to be in sport mode. Alright. Coolant. Alright, let's see. So, contrast. Chronos quartz. Oh, that's weird. I don't like that. Alright, we'll go back to the Chronos. That's definitely a much better look. Oh dear God. I will admit this bike scares me. This bike actually scares me. And I guess that's a good thing, because for a bike like this, if it doesn't scare you, then it's gonna, you know, make you not walk on this earth anymore. That roll-on is, oh god. Yes, I'm just gushing about this bike. I don't know if I can give any like information about this bike, just because I'm only concentrated on just, you know, holding on for dear life as this thing takes me for a ride. I am literally at this bike's mercy. Oh Lord, Lord have mercy. I will admit though, it's comfortable. The seat is super, super nice, and I like the way it cups you. Just kind of cups just the right way on your buns. I don't know what that guy was about to do, but he was probably about to end himself. Man, I don't know if y'all can even hear these pops. Let's see. I feel like one of them Aldi boys with the snap, crackle, and pop tunes or something. It just pop, 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 pop. Oh man, this bike brings a smile to my face, but fear in my heart. Oh yeah. Well, once we get a little bit further into this demo and we actually start hitting some of these curvies, I'll definitely come back to y'all on how this thing really is. Well, you know, as we're sitting in traffic, before we cut away to the curvies, these bar end mirrors, not bad. I'm not the biggest fan of bar end mirrors, but you know, they work pretty smooth on this bike. Somebody asks you what kind of miles to the gallon you get on this thing, you're like, what is miles to the gallon? I do not know what you are talking about. Supposedly it says 32.7 is what this bike is getting right now. 87 mile fuel range, so less fuel economy than my Harley, which, you know, significantly bigger motor than the Harley too, which Let's see what that little thingy-mabob is right here. We got a not quite a cigarette outlet, but it's something. Looks like we got adjustable front forks on this thing. What else can I say about this bike besides that it's insane? Which obviously you've heard me mention a boatload of times. Oh, it's got a hydraulic clutch. I didn't really notice that. I don't have much experience with hydraulic clutches, but it felt pretty good. If I must say so myself, it felt really, really good. Alright. Oh, this is weird. Look at that. It's got like a weird it's got the ignition on the side of the bike right there. Sitting at a red light, the heat isn't that bad? You would think that the heat would be a lot worse than what it is, especially when you're sitting on a car motor practically. But the heat management doesn't seem hateful. So as I'm riding this thing, the one thing I gotta say that is really nice about when you have just the most obscene amount of horsepower and torque is you really don't gotta do a whole lot of twisting of the throttle to do anything. You just kind of glide. I will admit that is a really nice feature of all the power. Cruise control, yay! Love cruise control, best thing ever. You know, I bet just because of how like easy this thing is to drive in a straight line, I bet this thing would just do really good on like long distance drives. You know, I'd love to see kind of like get about an hour or so on the highway with this thing just to kind of see what it would be like, because I'm a slightly hunched forward, but it's could have been a whole lot worse. And then obviously having cruise control just makes every trip easier. Alright, so we're sitting at about 3,500 RPM. The mirrors are a little buzzy. They are a little buzzy. Not enough to where I couldn't see what was behind me, but there was a little something something. You know, it's kind of crazy to say, but as I'm doing this ride and, you know, I'm putting more and more miles, the power is still terrifying, but it's not as... how's the way to put it? Once you get past the initial fear of all the power, like obviously things still scares you and you gotta be careful, but this thing can actually be very tame to drive as long as your throttle control is on point. Now, if your throttle control is trash, then yeah, you ain't gonna be longed for this world much more. Because, you know, obviously we're sitting behind this guy doing, you know, 30 mile an hour. It's doesn't feel like it's like the fueling on the throttle. It's not like it's on off on off on off. It's very linear, very smooth. Triumph really seems to put together a solid bike. And I gotta say, I'm really fortunate to have actually gotten to try this demo day. It's you know, it's one of those things that Triumph isn't one that you normally think about when you do demos, because obviously you think of the Japanese bikes and stuff, but you know, the reliability might not be Japanese, but man, this bike it's got some quality to it. Now obviously this looks a little old and outdated, so you know, we're not talking about this, we're talking about the other bikes, but this is still not bad. Even though it looks old, it gives you all the relevant information. Yes, this is a little small, you know, some of the icons on the side, but once you're used to the bike, if you owned one, glancing down and just seeing the relevant information that you need isn't hateful. Even though obviously it's not going to be with this bike, you know, it does sound crazy to say, but I might actually end up having a Triumph in my future. It's kind of crazy, ain't it? You know, it's one of those things, it's like almost I'm trying out every single, you know, every single practic like country almost. So, you know, UK, I'm guessing this is made in the UK, I don't really know. I might be just speaking out my ass, but Triumph UK, you know, Harley America. You got the Royal Enfield, which was India, the Kawasaki Japan, KTM, which Austrian, and you know, y'all saw how that was. Man, that was a dumpster fire. I can guarantee as much as I like the look of their bikes, I'm never gonna make that mistake again. And if I do, man, I'm gonna need to be put into an institution, because then there's something seriously wrong with my cranium. But I don't know, this thing seems pretty stout though. Pretty stout. But I guess after all my gushing and whatever else you can call this video based off of this monstrosity, I think I'm gonna end it off. So I hope y'all like, subscribe. Pit Bike Mike is out.